It has been a great homecoming weekend. You guys are fantastic. I'm David Hummel. I'm your alumni director. I'm blessed to be the alumni director for 15,000 alums here at Thiel, and we'd like to get this program started. Good afternoon, and welcome to homecoming. I want to welcome you all to the awards luncheon, where we're going to recognize 7 individuals for their outstanding work in the community and their careers. I'm so thrilled to see so many of you. And I think when I told the SIGEPs at the golf outing, when I saw 75 of them back in May, I believe, it truly is fantastic to see this many alums on campus again. And I hope you each take this opportunity this weekend to reconnect with your friends and your classmates. And I've seen a lot of that starting on Thursday. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Renee Bair, class of 99, the Alumni Board President.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Thiel College Alumni Association, I would like to thank all of you for attending today's luncheon. Homecoming is always a special time of year, and I am so excited to be back on campus this year. Today, we honor 7 alumni who have given of themselves in service to Thiel and their communities. Each year, the Alumni Board takes special care in selecting the recipients of the 3 awards that will be given today. All of our honorees are very deserving of recognition. Enjoy your day, enjoy your meal. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the president of Thiel College, Dr. Susan Traverso.
I want to take this moment to thank David Hummel and Renee Bair for their leadership, keeping alumni affairs moving ahead and keeping this wonderful awards program so vital to celebrating the success of alums. So thank you, David. Thank you, Renee. Boy, we go from one event to the next, but this luncheon is really special. As Renee said, time to celebrate alumni achievement. Today we have 7 worthy award winners whose biographies are profiled here, and you'll learn more about them and hear from them. Our honorees have developed and are continuing to build lives filled of commitment to excellence and service. At Thiel College, we talk about developing students for careers and lives of meaning and purpose, and certainly the alums who are celebrating today have developed careers and lives of meaning and purpose. For our distinguished alumni recipients today, it's about acknowledging and celebrating all that you have achieved through your professional careers. Our distinguished alumni awardees have had illustrious careers in their fields. Andy Crago's work at Disney, David Hart's leadership at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both of these individuals have played key roles in national and international organizations, and through that work, they've expanded the reach of Thiel College. To my dear colleague, John Barr, Damon Dohar, and of course, my close colleague, Cynthin Farrell, thank you for your service to Thiel and your commitment for all you've done for Thiel College. Your service has made us a stronger institution. For our 2 young alum award winners, Danielle Dwyer and David Saur, both have turned their passion for athletics into careers, and both live the mission of Thiel College every day. Their professional accomplishments, though still early in their careers, are really quite impressive. And so today we celebrate the strategic direction of our alums as well as the strategic direction of the college. Our alums very much are shaped by this college, and the college is very much shaped by our alums. So I'm thrilled to say welcome, friends, families, alumni, community members to the 2021 Alumni Award Ceremony.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good. Hold on. Mom. Hi. Yeah, today's Kevin's thing. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm getting ready to do it. I'm like in front of all these people. Well, I was going to tell some stories. Yeah. You don't think that's a good idea? Okay. Well, I was going to tell that one. Oh, you think Kevin would be really embarrassed about that? Well, what about the one with the tree? No, that one too. Okay. All right. Well, everybody's looking at me. I'm like here, and Well, of course he works for the Penguins. I think they know that. Yeah, and he's got a great work ethic. I know. I'll mention that. Yep, we've been friends for a long time, and yeah, he's been involved with USA Hockey and has been a mentor to hundreds of young hockey players. Hold on, sorry guys, 1 second. And right. Yeah, okay, all right. Now? Congratulations, Kevin. Okay, all right. And he's not getting a building named after him today, is he? No, it's just a lunch. I think he's in the program, maybe a picture. All right, okay. Thanks, okay. I'm honored that Kevin's my friend, yes. Gotta go, Mom, bye. Sorry. That was for real, guys. I'm sorry. No. But just as I am honored to have Kevin as my friend, I think Thiel College should feel honored to have Kevin as a distinguished alumni. So with that, I'll just introduce Kevin to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. That's a hard act to follow. You never want to go first, you never want to go last, and then I have to follow that. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff was very instrumental in my time here at Thiel, and it was a pleasure to have you present me today. I can tell you that when I talked to Mark Batt and gave him the list of attendees and who would be presenting me, Mark asked me, "Are you sure you want Jeff to present you?" Yes, Mark, I was sure. Jeff was the only person that I would want to present me. So thanks, Jeff. Thanks to the Thiel community for honoring me today. Congratulations to my fellow honorees. Cynthia probably helped me get through a lot of my financial aid numbers many years ago. Danielle, Andrew, I guess it's Andy, sorry. Damon, David, and John. Quite the accomplishment and recognition, well deserved for all of you. I'd also like to make sure we thank the wait staff for someone, yes, Roberta. For someone who did a college study in the cafeteria, that job that mostly those ladies perform is usually not recognized nearly enough. Mark and Dave, thank you very much for honoring me today. The entire alumni office should be recognized for their efforts, not only for today, but everything that they do for the college. I'd like to highlight three significant influences that kind of brings me here today. My mother, my Thiel experiences that I'll focus in on, and my family that's here today. For my mom, quite the amazing woman. During her life, she played many roles. Today, she's primarily known as Grandma Kelly, but she was a big sister, the oldest of 7 during a very difficult time, a wife, a mother, a father, and a co-worker. I mention as a father, with 6 kids of her own. My father passed away when I turned 16, and she ran both roles to a T. In each of those roles she had, and those characteristics I tried to mimic in my adult life. Her work ethic was one of the primary characteristics that I did try to mimic. Raising 6 kids from teenagers on down to elementary school without a formal education. She grinded it out and really showed me how to attack adverse situations. She instilled a passion in me to know the difference between right and wrong. There was no room for gray. And that was something I needed to share today in building where I am in, today. From Thiel, I'm forever grateful for the experiences I had on this campus. And to the Thiel's Women's Club, who provided that scholarship that was a tipping point for me to enroll in Thiel, I'm ever grateful. Starting in September 1982, I started my career at the Penguins in 92. My mom dropped me off right behind us at Hodge Hall. When she drove away right around lunchtime, I think that was the moment I said, "What am I getting myself into?" I had $200 in my checking account. I was the first in my family to attend college, and I was a bit nervous and bordering on scared, but the Thiel community thoroughly embraced me. The liberal arts education, the friendships, the professors, and the Thiel administrators all impacted me during my time here and made me the person I am today. The incredible instructors and professors that challenged me and made me work harder than I thought I could made a difference. Away from the business and accounting classes, Dr. White, Dr. Wilt were professors that I looked up to, and were professors that when I attended their classes, I didn't want the class to end. On the business department instruction side, the instruction I received was second to none. I started my career in public accounting, the Big Four, and I was well prepared. My classmates at Deloitte & Touche, 18 other young men and women, graduates from prestigious universities like Penn State, Notre Dame, Duquesne, University of Pittsburgh. The gal that I started with from Thiel, we were as prepared as those new employees were, and that goes to the department that Professor Miller chaired. Many thanks to my professors that I had: Professor Cottrell, Professor Yusko Hauser, Professor Jesse Ligo, and of course, David Miller. Every course that I was instructed in the business and accounting track, I used in my professional career, both at Deloitte & Touche and at the Pittsburgh Penguins today. Outside the classroom, I had several administrators on campus that made a difference and an impact during my Thiel experience. I worked in residence life, Hodge Hall. I was the head resident for 2 years. And I'm thankful that I crossed paths with Peggy Miller, Kathy Little, Dean Judy, and John Hauser. My family, I've been blessed and have a wonderful support from my family. My wife and 3 children have been on my journey and guided me most of the way. My son Nicholas couldn't be here today. He's working today. He works for the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins, and they opened training camp today, so he had obligations on the other side of the state. My wife and 2 daughters are in attendance. Julianne and Megan, thanks for making the trip today with your mom and myself. You both make me proud, and I'm glad that your mother did such a great job in raising you. We certainly adopted the 80-20 rule at home. My wife did 80% of the work, and I only did about 20%. To my wife, Linda, my high school cheerleader, the pom-poms never left your hand after high school and through this journey. Your support has made a big difference. When I was on this campus, the phone calls on Sunday night or the 2 letters a week that I received really kept me moving forward when I was here on campus. I still get a letter in the mail, not quite twice a week anymore, but usually once a month. I go to my mailbox in the office and there's one letter there for me. I'll close with me more and thanks, and let's go Cats.
Good afternoon. We have a number of distinguished alumni from the past honorees. I'd like to have them stand so you can see some of the other people who are have been recognized. Barry, Carol, there you go. I'm pleased to be able to present Andy Crago, class of 1971, to be recognized as a distinguished alumnus in recognition of his career at the Walt Disney Company and in his involvement in the life of Thiel College. I first met Andy Crago on September 10th, 1967, move-in day for the freshman class of 1971. I was in room 508 Middle Hall, now Florence West. Andy was in 507. His parents were so pleased to learn that I was the great-nephew of their minister who had married them and confirmed Andy. My parents were also pleased because there was a nice Lutheran boy next door. But as my mother told me many years later, when she talked to my great-aunt later that weekend and mentioned that Andy Crago was living next door to me, my aunt's response was, "Oh my." Well, my aunt's statement was predictive because in the ensuing 54 years, I've had a lot of oh my experiences with Andy. Andy had been to prep school, so he knew all about dorm life, something brand new to us public school kids. He was an example for us. He knew how to keep his room clean. Well, his half anyway. He knew what it was like to share the bathroom with 20 other men on the floor. And most of all, he knew how to study. He took his studies seriously, but he also knew how to have fun. We all looked up to him as the acknowledged leader of the Fab Fifth on the 5th floor of Middle Hall. Andy's leadership skills were further recognized when we joined Phi Theta Phi fraternity, and he was elected president in our senior year. The meetings were well run, didn't last as long, and we got things done. His ability to get things done hasn't changed. Andy's approach to life is to work hard at what is expected of you as a student, as an employee, and as a boss. While his life's work took him a very different turn from his major as a major in biology, he combined his liberal arts education with his strong work ethic and engaging personality to start at the bottom of the rung at Disney World and became the face of change, bringing all the 16 entities of the Disney empire under one accounts payable system. No small task when you're talking about affiliates like ABC TV, ABC Radio, ESPN, and all the Disney parks and resorts worldwide. When the Disney company decided to do this, they looked at the best run operation of all of their affiliates, and they took Andy. Very few alums can boast that they were on the cover of a national trade magazine, as Andy was. The feature article of the magazine on how he was able to accomplish that feat. Andy's been a strong supporter of his alma maters, Mercersburg Academy and Thiel College. And for Thiel, he was instrumental in getting students summer jobs, some of whom went back to Disney after graduation, Others he helped launch their careers as newly minted alums. He has spoken to classes on campus, hosted alumni events, and he and his wife, Carol, have been consistent and strong financial supporters. On the personal side, Andy is one of a kind person whose empathy, loyalty, and friendship are cherished by those who know him. I am proud to call him a friend and a brother. It gives me great pride as an alumnus and a friend to present to you Andy Crago, Thiel Class of 1971, as a distinguished alumnus.
I apologize for a little delay, but I wanted to make a grand entrance. Some of the stuff that you're going to hear from me is going to be redundant. I don't know where he got that, whether he's looking at my notes or what, but I want to thank Thiel and the Alumni Board for this special recognition. I never really gave my career a lot of thought, and I certainly didn't feel I had done anything distinguished, because always been kind of, I've always been a just do your job kind of guy. So as I began preparing, I really wanted to look at my total life to determine the events and circumstances that took place along the way, which influenced how an average kid from central Pennsylvania becomes a corporate director of the Walt Disney Company. I guess I was humbled by the fact that I always considered myself average. I did, however, develop the values of my parents, which I believe created a strong foundation for who I was to become in both my personal and professional lives, and enabled me to set expectations of myself and others. My decision to attend Mercersburg Academy at the ripe old age of 15 was my first major decision. It was this educational opportunity that allowed me to learn responsibility, focus, and discipline, as well as getting my first exposure to leadership. So I came to Thiel totally prepared to embark on my college career. I told myself, just do your job. Keep doing what you're doing. Before showing up the first day, I'd already met my roommate, Jim Underwood, wherever you are, as my parents had invited him down from New York to have dinner with us. So on day one, I immediately set out to meet some of my floor mates. First up, guess who? John Hauser. As he stated his name, as I said, he said, Roy Hauser, or I said, Roy Hauser is my preacher in Clearfield. He said, yes, he's my great uncle. I also found out in short order that John had never had a drink nor uttered a swear word in his entire life. And I'm happy to report I was successful in bringing him to my side on at least one of these. Okay, so next was Crutchfield, right? The black kid. Waiting in line to get our pictures taken for our IDs, we were alphabetically together. Crago, Crutchfield, okay. Yep, you may have guessed it. When we came back to pick up our IDs, there we were as the Thiel staff chuckled. Crutch was white, and I was black. Needless to say, they had to take the pictures again, and they wouldn't allow us to keep the originals. I knew immediately these two were very special and suspected we would become fraternity brothers, which we did, and we have carried this fraternal bond to this day, traveling together and meeting in various cities in the country whenever we could. I love these guys. Before I forget, because this is an integral part of my story, as John mentioned, I had declared biology as my major, as my mother thought I could become a doctor like her father. Fortunately for me, I was not going to be Dr. Crago the dentist, because you first had to get into dental school. So fast forward, 2 nights before graduation, 1971, while returning from a Pirates game, 4 fraternity brothers and I were involved in a pretty bad accident on McKnight Road. Some high school kids came flying out of McDonald's, lost control of their VW, and I hit them broadside, never even having a chance to hit my brakes. So graduation day, with me in North Hills Passivant Center, who enters my room? John Hauser! Presenting me with my Thiel diploma. Undoubtedly, this was Hauser's first official act on behalf of Thiel College, and I think we all know where it went from there. Good news from the accident was that I was reclassified 1A to 4F, thus not eligible to be considered a viable candidate for the Army, AKA Vietnam. Talk about life-changing. So in September 1971, I decided to fly to Florida as my parents were living there. By the beginning of October and with no job, Dad suggested Disney as it had just opened October 1st. So with my biology in hand, I was quickly hired into finance, where I would begin a 14-year stint in cash operations. I handled a boatload of money and different responsibilities, had some good supervisors and a few bad ones, which allowed me to form my approach to leadership. I took supervision and management classes from Rollins College professors offered at Disney and gained valuable information, which proved useful when I became an assistant supervisor. Before I move on, I must relate a Thiel story that occurred in 1978, and John touched on it. Hauser called me and he said, have a number of students that are interested in coming to Disney and working for the summer. And I said, well, we can probably use 12 to 15 between cash control, deposit operations, and admissions. I told them to interview them, select the best ones. I'd send them the applications for them to complete and to send them all back to me, and I would handle it. It worked out great for everyone involved, and as a result, a number of them moved to Florida after graduation, and we would get together regularly on Sundays at our favorite Steeler wing bar to enjoy the game and libations. Yeah. Incidentally, we actually had a reunion in Florida a few months ago to celebrate one of the kids' retirement, and I think one of the kids are here, or two of them. Would they please stand up? Would they please stand up? Dave and Shelley Maines. So I said to myself, is it possible that those kids have gotten that old? In 1985, I took an opportunity for a lateral move as assistant supervisor in accounts payable. Little did I know then that this too would be life-changing, or would change my life forever. I knew my new boss, as he was one of my old bosses in cash control, so I focused on meeting the staff and getting familiar with the various processes involved in accounts payable. This took some time, but it was well worth it. The simple procedure for paying an invoice wasn't so simple. Let me just say, too many paper invoices, handled multiple times, too many paper receiving documents required to perform a three-way match to pay an invoice, and this along with numerous defects that had to be corrected before payment. Talk about the mother lode of opportunity for improvement. In 3 years, when I became the supervisor, I brought in an outside consultant audit firm. Both Epcot and a studio had opened, which drove our volumes up, and we didn't have time to identify more efficient methods of processing. The worst year ever, 20,000 invoice backlog, 20,000 hours overtime. Our vendors loved us. Time for things to change. The biggest takeaway from the consultant was their numerous best practices which could be used to take paper out of the process, reduce our defect rate, and begin to finally start paying our invoices on time, taking discounts when offered. Since I already had some top talented leaders with knowledge of AP and systems, we continued to hire or promote those with the skill sets we knew we would need if we were to build the effective leadership team needed to transform accounts payable. With both new purchasing, receiving, and AP systems in place, we began to pursue best practices which worked for specific invoice populations. Nearly all inventory purchases were made without the vendor even needing to send us an invoice. In others, in purchases less than $1,000 and wasn't received in a system, we would assume that it had physically been received. And years later, we began to receive large volumes of electronic invoices, EDI, if you will, in some cases thousands at a time. Over the years, these initiatives and best practices removed millions of invoices from ever having to be touched. We also established close working relationships with our purchasing groups, which was not a norm of many of my AP colleagues, improved vendor relationships, and surveyed vendors annually to gauge satisfaction levels, all to ensure we were providing the highest level of service possible. Within a couple of years, the result of these initiatives and process improvements solidified our accounts payable shop at Walt Disney World as first quartile. then when benchmarked with our peers. When the Walt Disney Company decided to consolidate the 16 different business units' financial systems into one, SAP was selected. They also wanted to consolidate the business unit's core processes, of which AP was one, into a single site center known as Shared Services. So the two were wrapped into one project known as Tomorrowland, and I was identified as the accounts payable process owner on the team. Once our project partner, Boston Consulting Group, confirmed that Walt Disney World AP was the most efficient within the company and was the largest department by far, it became a significant reason to put the Shared Service Center in celebration. Project implementation involved 5 waves over 2.5 years, and as business units within the Walt Disney Company went on to SAP, their accounts payable came to Shared Services. I became director during this time and finished out my career in April of 2007, when we processed 4.1 million invoices with a staff of 82, a far cry from the 120 I had at Walt Disney World during the worst of times. The metamorphosis complete, I compared it to going from black and white TV to color HD TV, and we all know that took much longer than 22 years. I'm humbled and truly appreciative, and I can't thank this fine college enough for the honor, as well as the opportunity afforded me to track just how an average kid from Thiel got from Thiel to Disney with a lot of fun and hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try not to go as long. John says he's going to do 17 minutes, so I'm going to, 18, okay. So I'm going to keep it shorter than that. To John's surprise, I did not nominate you for this distinguished award, John. The Alumni Board recognized your accomplishments and your service, and I think that we're all grateful for that, because those of us who have served with John know how much he's done, how much he loves Thiel College. John did get his start here at Thiel, but a lot of folks don't know. A lot of people regard John as a marketing expert, but don't realize that way back in the day, and starting in the 1966 when we all arrived here, John started his career, early job with the Greenville Police, working at the Greenville Police Station as a nighttime dispatcher. Is that correct? Now, just to clarify, this was not a Thiel student employment job. This was not a job that was supported through some campus effort. It was not a scholarship. There's been a lot of speculation about what this job really was. Some have speculated that it might have been having to do something with his prior activities that might have involved the Greenville Police, and it might have been maybe a work release program. We're not sure. Had to get that in there. We're not certain. Just saying, Pablo. Just saying. Anyhow, but you can read the brochure, and you know that John has had a distinguished career in marketing. Most recently, retired from the Blue Lake Associates, which was a marketing consulting firm. But that was after 28 years at Kodak in marketing and sales. Hillsdale. For a good number of years up in Rochester. He also has a distinguished career as having done a lot of fundraising. Probably one most recognizable was the fundraising chair for the United States Olympic Committee's Northeastern region, as well as numerous other fundraising efforts. A lot of board work, serving on various boards in and around Rochester, and that, much to Paul Runge's consternation, John has also been the recipient of other awards besides this one, so his wall's getting plastered up. I know, it's just another one, right? I know. The 2012 Greater Achievement Award by the Greater Rochester United Way, Executive of the Year, 2013 by the Rochester Chapter of Public Relations Society. I thought maybe you should have just run for mayor up there and straightened things out, but you got a lot of problems up there. But quickly, I'm going to get out of here and let him talk. I connected with John again, although through our golf events and things was great, but a number of years ago, I think it was around 2012, we were having a combined meeting of the Board of Trustees, the Alumni Board, and the Board of Associates. It was actually an evening dinner, and Carol and I were there, and John was there because he was serving on the Board of Associates, which is a mix of people who have real interest in Thiel at Hart, who are sort of advisors to the president. And John was involved at that time with the board when Dr. Van Aken was still here. And John and I ended up sitting at the table together. And I have to tell you, I was really intrigued by John's questions to me, because I had been serving on the board at that point of trustees and was involved in a number of different things that we were doing. And I was so taken by John's insightful questions and the things he was asking me about, and why were we doing this about this and that, and things. And finally, we talked all through dinner. John, I said, you ought to be on the board with us. You ought to serve on the board of trustees, I think, and would you be interested? And I think you replied that you would be interested, and so we recommended him to the board, and he did, and we were very happy to have him come on, and he served very well on enrollment, governance, because there's a lot of experience previously on governance, and the advancement committee for fundraising was helpful to us during the campaign and all. And John actually was on track to become the board chair. To follow me through the board as a board chair when tragically John and Fran lost a son, Greg, in a tragic accident. So John had to step off the board for a year or longer, and then did come back on to serve some time with us again, and continued in those prior roles until we all left the board here about a year ago. So with that, I just want to say that John, for sure, and with all that he has done, deserves this award. The Service to Thiel Award, and I'm happy to present him as a friend, as a fellow brother, fellow board member with me who served, and someone that really loves Thiel. John.
This will not be 17 minutes. I guarantee you that. I'd like to thank Barry Stamm. Dr. Stamm has been a real friend to all of us in the Sigma Phi Epsilon world at Thiel College. Not only a great friend, but as he indicated, he steered me into trustee service, and I'm really grateful you did, and I thank you very much for that. I want to thank my Sigma Phi Epsilon brothers and my classmates from the year of 1970 who've been kind enough to, and graciously enough to join me here today. And I want to especially thank Roberta Leonard, who I did find out nominated me. I want to thank Renee, I want to thank David, I want to thank the Alumni Board for offering me this award, and I'm really humbled and I'm grateful for that. I'm most grateful to have worked with a lot of trustees. There are a number of trustees that I did work with who are in this room today. Our Thiel leadership under the direction of Dr. Traverso, and I really treasure the memories of speaking at the Ruth Miller Senior Seminars over a period of about 4 or 5 years. I'm really sorry that David and Ruth are not here today. Very, very special people, as many of you who know David and know Ruth realize. Each of you is here this morning and this afternoon now because of your love for and your loyalty to Thiel College. And of course, given this particular luncheon event and homecoming, a significant focus of our college is to engage alumni, to serve so that Thiel may thrive by creating positive and changeable impact upon the lives of our students and our graduates. And as you know, being of service, or being a servant leader, is challenging. It often coaxes us to say yes more times than we anticipate. It may require us to contribute considerable time within our schedules. It may require us to contribute our intellectual talents as well. And it very well may prompt us, each of us, to contribute some of our financial assets to Thiel College. Yet service to Thiel, however we define it, gives us what we strive for, and that's personal satisfaction, knowing that we are contributing to the greater good. Service to Thiel makes each of us a better person as well. When I was very young, many, many years ago, there was a song lyric that was a part of a TV show called The Christophers. I don't know if anybody remembers The Christophers TV show, but to me, this lyric defines the essence of service. It reads, "If everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be." I hope that each of us always keeps candles lit for Thiel College so that individually and collectively we will brighten the future of our school and the thousands of students for many years to come. I thank you generously for this award, and thank you for coming today to celebrate with me.
I was here at Thiel College for 5 years as the head women's basketball coach, and that's where I had the opportunity to meet David Saur. He came to me as a freshman that just was always in the gym playing basketball and told me he wanted to become a college basketball coach someday and could he help out with the women's basketball team. Initially, I just thought he would probably wanted to date one of the players and just wanted to end. So I wasn't quite sure about it. And I asked the young ladies, what they thought, and they said he was a cool dude. So I said, why not? A D3 coach, get some free help, sure. He could run some offensive drills and it would be fine. But Dave was so focused and determined, he just wanted more. He really wanted to be a college head coach. So at one point he said, hey, what about recruiting? So I took him recruiting with me. What about scouting reports? So I showed him how to do a scouting report. By the end of the season, Dave was doing the scouting reports for the team as a freshman college student. When he graduated from Thiel, he became a graduate assistant on the D2 level, and he called me and thanked me for essentially jump-starting his career because he had 4 years on most GAs when they had none, really. And what Dave, I don't think, realized is he did that. I gave him an opportunity because I got free help, but he took that 1 year because I only worked with him for 1 year. I left the next year and went back to my alma mater, and he took that 1 year and made it into 4 years here at Thiel. Through those 4 years, he helped out the men's and the women's program. He took those 4 years, became a D2 assistant, became a Division I assistant, and eventually now he's a head coach. And he's been named Coach of the Year and has been very successful over the last 3 years. So I thank you, Dave, for showing me that a college freshman can have focus and determination on their future goals. I have no idea what he did to deserve this award, but I know whatever you ask him to do, he's going to do it with focus and determination. Congratulations, Dave.
Okay. That was my son that's making all that noise, by the way, 13 months old. Thank you, Artina. Like Artina said, for me, the experience that I got here at Thiel, when I got to Thiel, I did know basketball is all I knew, and yes, playing in the gym and running around campus is really, all I wanted to do. But for me, basketball was my passion. I wasn't sure even what I wanted to major in. When I came to campus, thankfully Jenny Griffin convinced me to do psychology. It's paid off in a big way as a women's college basketball coach, in a big way. Over the last 14 years, it certainly has. But for me, Thiel is about the people. Few people know my brother and I both went here. My brother played football. We graduated in 2011. Thiel became home. Is somebody, through my high school career, went to multiple high schools. Basketball was all I did. Never went to prom because of basketball. I was always, running somewhere, playing in an AAU tournament, doing something like that. Thiel became my home. And it was the first time I was really able to put down roots academically, but then to kind of find my path. And I never really, I never really understood what it meant to kind of have a family away from home, and this definitely became that. I'd like to obviously thank my wife Lydia, son Bryson, a couple of my best friends from college are here. My brother, of course, Priorities, one of his best friends from law school is getting married today, so he couldn't be here. But again, it is about the people for me and the relationships that I built while I was here. Certainly Artina, Coach Loomis, of course he isn't here, the Omen family, Cindy, definitely. I know you got tired of talking to my dad all the time about financial aid. So Cindy, Roberta Leonard, Amy Schaefer, the list could go on and on. But always will be a Tomcat. And for me, the experience I'll finish with, the opportunity coming to a place like this, although I didn't know what I was getting myself into, being at a small school like this, at a Division III level, like Artina said, the opportunity to do everything within a program. And it's what set me apart, be able to be a Division I assistant 2 years after leaving this campus, never would have dreamed that opportunity. And now, obviously, being back in the conference, I am undefeated in this gym, by the way. I won't hold that again. Don't hold that against me. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Thiel, and always a Tomcat. Thank you.
Good day to all of you. It's my privilege to present Cynthia Farrell for this Service to Thiel Award. She has served her alma mater faithfully for more than 40 years, and she has certainly earned this recognition. Cindy entered Thiel as a freshman in 1973. She was a fully engaged student. She participated in the choir and the orchestra. She was a trainer for some of the athletics teams. She was a member of Sigma Kappa sorority, and generally very active. She graduated with a major in sociology in 1977. Following graduation, she returned to Thiel, where she made her career. Somehow that sounds familiar to me. For 5 years, she was an admissions counselor, and then she moved over into the financial aid department, which would become her home for nearly the next 40 years. In 1995, she became the executive director of financial aid and student services. Just as in her student days, Cindy remained active in the life of Thiel, serving on committees, taking part in planning, and in activities, all of which were aimed at furthering the mission of this place. The college recognized her for her service at Founders Day in 2005. As most of you know, a financial aid officer plays a crucial role in the recruitment and the retention process. For many, if not most students, the biggest challenge to getting a college education is not academic, it's financial. And for many, if not most families, figuring out how to get the necessary resources to make that happen is a challenge. We all know higher education in this country is expensive. The financial aid package, therefore, is a primary factor in a student's choice of a college, as well as in that student's ability to stay for 3 or 4 years. The financial aid office has to prepare a package which meets the need of the student, which is competitive with packages of other colleges, and which is attractive enough to enable the admissions office to turn prospective students into matriculated students. And as I said before, it must be able to sustain the student financially for the next several years. Cindy Farrell has been the key player in that process at Thiel for almost all of her time here. I know of her dedication to her work. I know of her commitment to students. I also know about the long hours she has committed to this job. I had the chance to be an administrator here myself for a while, and in those years I was often one of the last ones to leave campus. And more often than not, what I noticed was that the light in Cindy's office was still on. Despite that, she always found time to make fudge for the rest of us and talk about groundhog stories with me. Service to Thiel, this award is for service which is outstanding, even exceptional. And Cindy Farrell's body of work over more than 40 years certainly helps her to meet that standard. I've known her as a student and as a colleague and as a friend. And personally, I am very pleased to have been asked to introduce her to you today. Cindy has 3 children, Sean, Jordy, and Elisa. Elisa is here today, as is her father, Bob Harvey, to share in this occasion. As I've said, she's certainly deserving, so please join me in congratulating her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I just have to make one little amendment to Dr. Olson's introduction. I started in '74. I don't want to be any older than I already am. So that was just a year off. I'm getting there, but I really appreciate, I'm so honored to have been selected for this award. I appreciate you all being here to share it with me today. I didn't think this day would be coming so soon. I used to tell people to come into the office and say, "Are you still here?" I go, "Yeah, they're going to wheel me out in my chair one of these days, and they're going to bury me out front under the flagpole." So fortunately, that didn't happen, although I could have stayed for a little longer probably, but it was a good time, and it was time for me to make a change and time for Thiel to move on. So I just would like to thank all of you. A lot of people, so many people went into making this possible. My brother brought me here for my first campus visit, where I met George Lintela and Hal Franley, who were current students. One's a Crow, one's a Phi. And they were like big brothers to me. I'd known them all my childhood. So I felt safe here. I knew somebody, had a connection. If I needed something, I could call. And my parents who sacrificed and supported me to go through Thiel, to get my education here. My children, who unfortunately for them, I would drag to the campus for every event that went on. They saw every football game, basketball game, soccer game, choir concert, band concert, you name it. We were here for that, and they put up with this. I can remember bringing my daughter in her little carrier and sitting her behind my desk when I had to work one night, in the evenings. So they've put up with a lot, been very supportive. When I go home at the end of the day and I didn't have an answer for Damon Dohar's request to go to Europe and how we were going to fund that this year, I had somebody they would look at me like I was nuts, but I had someone to vent to. So I couldn't have done it without all of that support, all of those people, all of my friends, Dr. Olson, who has become a good, dear friend, John Hauser, who brought me here, was my first boss, and my first hire at Thiel, and I'm sure there have been many times he's wondered how wise a decision that was, but maybe not one of your best moves ever, John. But I've made so many friends, colleagues, so many of the students that I've worked with, Pastor Brian, Damon Taylor, the students that I've known as, I don't want to say children, young adults, and watched them grow into such productive, wonderful careers, community members, family members, and all of the great things that they've accomplished, and it makes me very proud to have been a part of that. I can't thank everybody, or mention everybody that has been a part of this, but I appreciate everything you've done, and I thank you all for letting me be a part of your families. Mr. Saur and I got to be very close friends over the years that Matt and David were here. I'd know every time the bills went out, I'd get a call, and we'd go through it and make sure it was all good. It was just, and I appreciated that. I said the year after they graduated, I'd expect a call every semester just so we could keep in touch. I'm hoping that I'll continue to be able to keep in touch with all of my friends here. I plan to be around and supporting anyone and all of them in any way I can. Thank you very much. I've been very blessed, and I appreciate having the time with all of you. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause for all the recipients today. It's such a blessing to hear all of your wonderful stories and experiences. As the Vice President for Enrollment Management, it's great to hear the stories that we can share with our prospective students and talk about how successful you are and all the great things that Thiel has had to offer. And I would also like to thank John Hauser also for hiring Cindy 43 years ago. So thank you very much. But moving on to Mr. Dohar, I came to Thiel 4 years ago, and I didn't know many people. I moved over here to the Zimmerman house, and Roberta called and said, "There is going to be someone that's going to call you, and I'm going to need you to take this call." So If there's other ones that you push aside or you're trying to work it out, this is a priority for you. And so when Damon called, I obviously picked up the phone and he said, we're going to go for wings, but we're going to talk about Thiel. And so after a wonderful lunch, I learned about how much he loved Thiel and what it meant to him. And he said, we are going to do great things together. He said, I have so many ideas, and all I want to do is bring students to Thiel. So if you're not aware, he is the superintendent of schools for the Weathersford School District, and he's in charge of working these students to go to college or trade schools or whatever is next in their lives, but he shapes many people's lives every day. So with Damon, he not only looks at what's in the best interest of the students, but he also looks at what's in the best interest of Thiel. So he single-handedly has helped bring many students to his alma mater. He's helped even within our newest physician assistant program, our speech language pathology program, talented athletes, and many others in the future. He's also resurrected help within our college and high school program, our College Credit Plus, which for Ohio, as well as helping to the neighboring high schools in this relationship. So I am very grateful for my first friend at Thiel, but I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Damon Dohar.
I'd like to thank Ashley very much. She lied very well about me. It's very kind of you to say. Miss Farrell, I follow her. Thanks for the tears and all that stuff. That's really easy to follow that story. Thank you. But if it wasn't for her, in all honesty, she is known as my other girlfriend at Thiel College. My wife just goes, who's that lady you always talk to at Thiel? It's Cynthin Farrell. I said, I walked into her office in the early summer of '88 with my father, and we walked out. You were in that building over there. I think it's now the football office. And we walked out, and my dad just goes, I like that girl. She's all right. So, and being from Youngstown, that means a lot. Because if you're from Youngstown, you know we're not always probably the most straightforward people in the world. So we were always raised with she's with us. She's good. You know what I mean? So, and she is. And without her, I don't get a chance to study in Europe. I don't get a chance to come back. She was wonderful. She took my phone call, especially when I was in Spain. I said, Cindy, this is costing like $3.50 an hour. All right, I go, we don't have the internet. There is no such thing in 1990. So, but I have to thank her very much because without you, I really don't graduate. So really, you mean the world to me. You do. And I am the most blessed, lucky man you'll find. I have a great family. My wife, Nikki, over there. My two kids that have been creating noise over there. D'Angelo, wave hi, everybody. And Delaney, right there. So, and I'm their superintendent at their school, so they get yelled at home and also at school now. So, all I could say is that I am very blessed. I'm very lucky to have gone to Thiel College. I chose it legitimately on a whim. My grandmother was Lutheran. I was raised Catholic, though. So when we decided to come visit, because a football coach called me, and I said, they want me to play, Dad. He goes, well, let's go up there, because we had gone to a couple other schools, and my grandmother offers me a brand new suit for graduation, and he goes, hey, maybe she'll give you a car if you go to Thiel. That didn't happen, though. But she was Lutheran, and I always laugh, and I have to tell the story to everybody because it means a lot to me. I was raised Lebanese because my dad's Lebanese, and when you marry into the Lebanese culture, there is nothing else that you could do but become Lebanese. My wife has become basically Lebanese. It's how we work. That's how it goes. So my poor mom's side never got really a whole lot of attention. She was Italian. So, my grandmother, she was so excited because she was Lutheran, and she used to always tell us the story. She goes, your grandfather put the toilets in that place. And I was so great because my grandfather was a tile layer. So that's what he did. So every time I went to the bathroom at Thiel College, I thought of my grandparents and my uncles that did that because they had to volunteer. So all I can honestly say is that my 4 years here were fantastic, and my 40 years after, my 30-plus years after have been even better. And I've been blessed to work with the Cynthin Farrells, President Traverso, Roberta, and Ashley now, and everybody else has always taken me in their arms, and they actually listen to me talk, which is nice. And it's very nice to be a superintendent of schools at this point in time. I get to send kids here, and I always tell them that, listen, I loved it there. But you have to love it there. I said, it was my home away from home, and it still is. And I love being back here. Get choked up. Sorry, Cindy. My mom and dad love this place. And those are the two most important people in my life. So, Mom and Dad, I made it. I did okay. So, I just have to thank everybody again, and God bless everybody, and have a wonderful day today. Thank you.
I have the pleasure of introducing our last recipient. And for the first time, Thiel is going to allow someone to accept it remotely. For many of you that know her, Thiel has this thing where people's last names become their names. Crago, Crutch. The Saurs had to have first names because there were two of them. But when I say Dwyer and I look out over, people start to nod. Danielle Dwyer was a two-sport athlete, but more than that, she was a driven individual from the first day I met her. There are people you meet in life and you know they're going to be successful at whatever they do. Danielle Dwyer was one of those people for me. She could not be with us tonight. She's actually, I believe, in Oklahoma, covering some sport that probably football, doing some amazing story that I'm sure next year we'll find out she won another regional Emmy for doing. But at her heart, what I love about Danielle is she never fails to take a call. If I call her and say the communication department needs help, she takes the call. If I call her and say we have a student athlete who's interested in what she does in media and communication, she takes the call. As busy as she is, she never says no. So it is my pleasure and my honor, and I'm crossing my fingers that this works, to introduce from the screen Miss Danielle Dwyer.
Oklahoma City. Hello from Oklahoma City. I wish I could be there in person celebrating everyone's achievements, and I want to say congrats to all the other awardees. It is an absolute honor to be recognized alongside such an amazing group of fellow Thiel alums. Congrats to fellow young alumni recipient David Saur. Dave, you've always been someone I've admired, and it's been really wonderful watching from afar as your career continues to excel. I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me as a recipient of the Young Alumni Award, and I'd like to thank David Hummel for his patience and help throughout our correspondence. I know I had some delays from time to time in my responses, so thank you again, David, for your patience. And of course, I'd like to thank my family, who has been through everything life has had to offer. I am here today because of happenstance, hard work, and love of sport. In November of 2006, I happened to run into a former travel volleyball coach of mine. She happened to be the assistant coach at Thiel. I had never heard of Thiel, but I agreed to a visit, and within seconds of being on campus, I quickly fell in love. I also experienced the Thiel friendliness. Besides wanting to play both volleyball and softball in college, I knew I wanted a strong sense of community. Thiel provided that. And I'm happy to say that friendliness continued even after the tuition check was cashed. I've worked in some newsrooms where that wasn't always the case. But in all seriousness, I've had the opportunity throughout my professional career to teach and mentor college students, and I tell them all the same advice. Your experience is what you make it. I was raised to have a strong work ethic and to strive for better and to create opportunities. Thiel helped me discover my passion for journalism. With the support and encouragement from Dr. Evans, I joined the TCTV crew. I also wrote for the Telencian, and when I had an interest in creating an internship with the athletics department to look into sports journalism, Kevin Fenstermacher helped me make it happen. Since then, dozens of Tomcats have been afforded the same opportunity. Though my TV career didn't begin following graduation, Thiel did give me the foundation that I was able to build upon in grad school. Thiel also gave me the support, and that friendliness I had experienced years before has continued on. In the past 10 years, I have lived and worked in 5 very different cities where hundreds of thousands of people have welcomed me in and night out to their homes by watching their local news station. I've had the opportunity to share some incredible stories. Some have gone on to win awards. I've also been able to cover some high-profile events like the World Series and NBA All-Star Weekend, But the part that has enhanced my journey in television is the continued support, that Thiel friendliness from people like my presenter, Roberta Leonard, former professors, coaches, and teammates who have become some of my closest friends in life. The TV business is grueling, but feeling the unwavering love and support and that Thiel friendliness has made a big difference. I can't thank my parents enough for instilling in me the importance of a strong work ethic, and I can't thank Thiel enough for allowing me to use that work ethic for the better. Thank you.